Hi guys, welcome back, and this time around I'm bringing you a review for some Celest products which I've already had for a couple of weeks now, and I kind of just forgot about them, to be honest. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the Ignite X, which is a 1+1 hybrid, and I'm talking about the Wyvern Qing. I think that's how you say it. I apologize if I'm not saying it correctly. Um, they are in essence basically the same IM in that they use the same DD, and that then is then obviously seen in terms of the sound, but a little bit more about that in a few minutes. The Wyvern Qing is available in two colors: this blue color and the green color. Nice IM, and it basically just continues what started out with the original Wyvern, and then the Abyss, which is what a nicely tuned IM, which intentionally was for gaming, but in terms of its musical capabilities and playing back music, it's an absolute beast. It's phenomenal. Costs, any one of these costs between $20 and $25 roughly. I got them all from HIFIGO. The difference that exists here, at least graphically, is that the Wyvern Abyss and the Qing have got a little bit more mid-bass impact as compared to the original Wyvern, but the difference is minimal. You'll pick up on it on something like some maybe EDM, some reggae music, but if you're listening to some Carol Duboc, or if you're listening to some normal jazz, or if you're listening to let's say Soul Persona or Sentimental Mood from Cecil Norby, you won't really notice that these two have got more bass than there, because the difference is, trust me, minimal. Okay, so any one of the Wyverns, what is their sound characteristic? It's a nicely executed bass, sub bass focus. The mid bass is nicely relaxed. There's no bleed into the mid, so there's no overemphasis, which then conveys a nice, clean, open mid range. Male and female vocals are exceptionally well done, especially when you consider the price. Detail retrieval, soundstage, imaging, all of those are more than adequate for the price. And overall, what is being the premise here is to have a nice musical sounding IM, and on top of that, an IM that does the eyes some justice. They are very beautiful IMs. That, at least for me, I think they are very beautiful, and well, that's what to be expected from Chimera, from Celest, from Q1 Audio, from they know how to make IMs look good. Maybe the one that's the most beautiful out of the three, or the least beautiful out of the three, is the original Wyvern, because of the silver faceplate, within the whitish green tinted shell. But the Wyvern, the Abyss, I mean, looks phenomenal with this kind of scale type faceplate design. It looks really nice with this purple cable that I got here from Nice HTK. It matches beautifully as well the whole vibe of the IM, and the Qing as well, the same thing. I mean, the blue of the shell with the blue of the faceplate, all have been done very tastefully, and they just look way more expensive than what the IM actually is. So sonically, musical IMs, any one of them, there isn't really any significant difference between the three of them that I can say, oh no, this one is the best. No, they all are very solid, and they all sound 98% equal. Okay. As for the Ignite X, it's a 1+1. It uses the same DD that you'll find on the Wyverns, which then means that you're gonna get much of the same characteristics in terms of bass and mid bass and mids. It's tuned in terms of the bass to be similar like the Queen and the Wyvern Abyss, so a little bit more of that mid bass fullness. But it then uses a BA, a 10012 BA for the to help out the upper mids and treble, and you notice it. So technically, there's more details, there's more twinklies and sparklies, there's more a bigger sensation of soundstage, perhaps slightly improved imaging here and there. But all of that does bring with it a cost. It brings the cost, which is now you are prone to have that BA tonality or timbre that, if you don't choose your tips carefully or source carefully, it can be a little bit, I'm not going to say problematic, but you can notice it and ultimately kind of spoil what is a nice sounding IM. It is. But if you choose your tips carefully, like I've done, well, actually I'm using the stock ones, which are the same as the KB07s, which I like very much. So if you're choosing your tips carefully, if you're using a nice source, I use the Yuki, I tried the Cayenne, I tried the TP50 and the TP35, I tried the Rose Elsa as well. I mean, any one of them sounded really, really good. I would say that the one that matches the Ignite X probably the best is the TP5035 and the Yuki. The others being just ever so slightly behind. You know, nothing much there. So sonically, I would divide this as this is being more technically capable, the Wyverns as being more musically capable. Okay, although the differences musically wise is very different, but you do notice that there's an improvement here on the Ignite in terms of its technical capabilities. Price wise, obviously this is more expensive. This is about $45. It is now debatable whether, you know, that extra $20 price hike is worth it or not. I mean, it is after all just a single BA. I don't know. I'll leave that decision to you guys. What else here do I have to then help position kind of a little bit here the Wyvern Qing and the Ignite X? Well, I've got on the top there the XLC X600, which is also 1+1. Next to that, I've got an oldie but a goldie, which is a TRN STM replaceable nozzles. Very few of you probably still remember that IEM. Next to that, the CVJ Konoka. It's actually also a gaming IEM, and it's got a bone conduction very similar to another IEM that's over here, DD and BA obviously. Next to that, the 7Hz Sonus. And then over here the Plutus Beast, also from Celest. It's a 3-driver DD, which is actually an SPD driver. It uses a BA and it uses a bone conduction. It's the most expensive IEM here. It costs roughly $65, and I just got it here just kind of to help position things here. In terms of price for the rest, well, the X600 there from XLC, that's about $55. The STM is no longer available. The Konoka, you can have it for about $25, and the Sonus, you can get it now for about $45, which is basically the same price as the Ignite X. Okay. In terms of single DD, I've you know, the Q1 Pro here from EPZ is in essence almost identical sound-wise here to the Wyverns. That's the reality. There's not much here that I can say other than that, because that's the reality. Bass has got the same sort of bass execution, the same sort of mid execution. There's perhaps just a little bit extra detail up there in the, I would say, 5.5 to 7.5K area. But you know, I wonder if it's maybe not tip related, because I did try the various tips and there was always a little bit extra detail there, or if it's maybe something internally in the shell that's slightly different. I don't know. There's just a little bit extra detail. It's not again a big difference. You know, again, solid in terms of price. That's about $35 to $40. So when you consider that they are so similar in terms of their sound, you know, it's hard for me to justify the Q1 Pro over the others, because they sound, these four sound almost identical. All right, that's the truth. In regards to the Ignite Beast, so the 1+1s, let's hold on, bring this here a little bit closer and let's talk about it. Okay, well, first of all, two IEMs here have been slightly adjusted by myself. Why? Because they had a tremendous amount of potential to sound way better than what they do, and I just had to do it. And I'm talking about the STM and I'm talking about the Konoka. The STM, all that it took was just a small filter on the actual one of the replaceable nozzles. In this case, a 300 grade filter, and on the Konoka, again, just some filters on the nozzle, and it completely changed the dynamics of those IEMs. So no longer do we have that peak in terms of the upper mids and treble, which showcases too much that BA and makes things a little bit aggressive or sharp or unpleasant. No, everything is now smooth, and when I show you the graphs, you'll see what I mean. And you know what? It updates, well, the STM to today's standards, and honestly, it allows the STM to play. It goes up against these newer offerings very solidly. Of course, we're talking about an IM which is, you know, not as nice and visually wise. It's got an old design. This has been around since I think 2019. I've had this one since basically back then. But that doesn't mean that I don't listen to it, and I still enjoy listening to it. And because of this little small mod that I did to it, it honestly, it sounds really, really good. It sounds really solid. The dynamic driver that they used here, that TRN used here back in the day, which actually was also a dynamic driver used by some other brands, is a very solid dynamic driver. That's the truth. It's a nice sounding dynamic driver. As for the Konoka, it was again marketed as a gaming IEM, as you can see here, the bone conduction, the driver itself, but it suffered from maybe an overzealous tuning of the upper mids and treble, and by again implementing those filter applications here, it completely changed the vibe of this IEM. I like listening to it without the actual bone conduction, because I think the bone conduction here wasn't very well how can I explain this? The fact that it's a plastic shell, the resonance of that driver against the shell will play a determining part in how it will overall sound. In the Assassin version, which has got a metal shell, the bone conduction working does sound much better. Yes, it does help out with regards to when you're playing games and so on and so forth, but musically it's not, you know, it's not helping out as much as you would expect. Although in the metal shell of the Assassin, it does work a little bit better. In the plastic shell here of the Konoka, no, it actually is spoiling things and making it sound hollow, like if you were listening to music at the end of a long pipe. So I don't use it with the bone conduction. I just use it with the BA, and once again, what can I say? It sounds absolutely phenomenal. It's one of those IEMs that seriously I would say, you know, if you can pick it up now during the sales and you have something that you want to play around with and tune, this is a solid IEM to do that, because it sounds really good, really good. Okay. The Sonus, I don't need to say much about this. The Sonus, I mean, we all know the Sonus is one of the better 1+1 IEMs around. It's as simple as that. It's well tuned, great, phenomenal bass, and the integration of the bass with the BA for the upper mids and treble has been exceptionally well done, and it just sounds very good. And for the $40 odd that you can pick it up now, you know, it's a no real brainer. As for the X600 here from XLC, it's an IEM that, you know, again, the fact that it's got the price that it's got does deter a little bit people going for it. I mean, $50 odd. Well, you can get the Chimera Ignite for just over 40. You can get the Sonus for just over 40. It makes it hard to justify it, but what does it offer? What does it have that makes it special? It's got a great, really great, nice, warm, old school kind of sound. If that's the kind of sound that you like, that's got a phenomenal sound in that aspect. Okay. As for the Plutus Beast, in my opinion, a very nicely done execution of the bone conduction. It's working really well here. The way that they've been able to adapt the bone conduction to the shell, and I believe the shell here is not pure plastic. It's definitely got to have some sort of resin, because it resonates very nicely and it doesn't give that hollow sensation to the sound that you get on the Konoka, for example. The bass is, again, yeah, on the you know, the SPD application, yeah, has been very nicely done. It's probably the best SPD application I've seen out of the SPD drivers from Celest. Better than in the Pandaman and the Gumio, and yeah, that's basically it. Comparing them now here to the Ignite X. Well, the Ignite X compared to the X600, it's got a little bit more detail up top. So the upper mids and treble are more detailed. There's better detail retrieval, better resolution. So overall, a more complete sounding IEM. Although it's not entirely fair to say that it's better than that one, because the tuning idea has been done in a different manner. If you are maybe a little bit treble adverse and you don't want to feel that BA timbre, then the X600 is the better option. It's got phenomenal bass as well. I would say every bit as good, if not even maybe better than the Ignite X, because it's a really clean dynamic bass. And that's it. Compared to the STM, I mean, obviously it's not available, so you know, but the STM modded like he is, yeah. For me personally, better execution of the better implementation of the BA there than here. The BA here does have a tendency of, like I said earlier, to become a little bit unpolished at times. So I would say the BA there works better, and the overall balance of sound is very nice. It's a very smooth sounding IEM. The Konoka, again, as it is there in that implementation or that mod that I've done to it, really good. Yes, the Ignite X does have a slightly better bass, cleaner, more dynamic, more impactful, but again, the Konoka edges out the Ignite X in terms of the way that the BA is then working. It just integrates better the dynamic driver there. Obviously, being modified, again, it's not a fair comparison, because if you were to compare it in its stock format, the Ignite X just walks all over it. That's the reality. The Ignite X is better than the Konoka in its stock format. But now, considering that like I said, that you can pick that up for like just over $20, and then you do this mod on it, you know, it's maybe something that could be worth considering if you want something different, something that can be made to sound phenomenal. Compared now there to the Sonus, I mean, look, I'll be straight to the point. The Sonus is a better IEM. You know, it's just a better IEM. It just sounds nicer. Okay, the bass is nicely done. It's got a nice looking shell. It's just a better IEM. Maybe I would give a little bit extra detail retrieval to the Ignite X at lower volumes, but the mids and the upper mids, the mids and the bass here on the Sonus are very good. Great extension, you know, everything. It's really good. I would say as well that the tonality and the timbre of the Sonus is again the biggest advantage, or one of the biggest advantages that it has here over the Ignite X. It's not that the timbre and the tonality Ignite X is wrong, but it's just that when you push the volume, that BA kind of just doesn't maintain its polish. Okay. And finally, compared here to the Plutus Beast, I would say the Plutus Beast again is a more warmer, more cozy kind of old school type of sound. The advantage of that, of course, is if you are treble adverse, you won't have any issues there with the treble. Maybe a little bit more detail up top here on the Ignite X as compared to the Plutus Beast, but the Plutus Beast, in terms of the incisiveness of the bass, the cleanliness of the bass, is better. Different style of tuning, different crowds of people, but both are very solid. Both are very solid. I've enjoyed the Plutus Beast from day one, and sometimes I am surprised when I hear people criticize it so negatively, because it is a very solid IEM. Anyway, wrapping things up here, going back first to the Wyverns. The Qing is basically, like I said, the same thing as the original Wyvern, the Abyss, very similar as well to the Q1 Pro. It's a nicely executed IEM in terms of build. It plays well, and for just over $20, you can't go wrong. That's the truth. You just can't go wrong. If you already own the other Wyverns, it's pointless to get this one. As for the Ignite, X. It's got a lot of what the Wyverns have in terms of that BA timbre and tonality. It sounds nice. It's just that then that the BA up top kind of spoils things and makes things just sound a little bit unpolished, especially at higher volumes. At lower volumes, it's okay, but it makes it a little bit unpolished compared to the other ones. Like I said, look, compared to the Konoka and to the STM, those are both modified ones with the main advantages that they have over the Ignite X is being more delicate, more well executed, at least for me, in terms of how the BA is playing. Compared to the X600, the X600 is very it's by comparison a smooth, a warm sounding IEM. The advantage with that obviously is that you don't have any fatigue from the BA. So I think you have to decide what you want in terms of overall sound. Compared to the Sonus, I've already said it. The Sonus is just the more complete IEM. It just is. It's a well built, well accessorized. It ticks all the right boxes. And finally, compared here to the Plutus Beast, again the Plutus Beast. Although not an entirely fair comparison, it's 3 drivers, 2 drivers, different price point and everything. The Plutus Beast is a more complete IEM. I mean, I just absolutely was very impressed by how the SPD driver and the bone conduction here were implemented. I mean, that's the truth. That's why at the same time I get a little bit surprised when I see so much criticism, because we mustn't forget the price point at what this is. And when you consider those factors and you see other implementations of bone conduction, like on the Konoka being so, let's say, poorly done by comparison, and then you see it being done in this manner here on the Plutus Beast, you have to give it its deserved merit. Alright, guys, I'll show you now the graphs and we'll wrap it up. You take care. Hi guys, and welcome now to the graph section here for the Wyvern Qing and the Ignite X as well. Okay, this first graph that I'm showing you is the original Wyvern, the one with the cream shell, if you want to call it that way, with the green nuances as well in it. And as you can see, I mean, really nice tuning. I mean, there's truthfully nothing that you can point as a negative aspect. Bass is flat by 200. Nice progressive peanut gain, peaks at about 3K. The BGVP whiteboard tip helps convey this aspect here of the graph, which would then, in terms of sound, mean a little bit better sound stage. While with the stock tips, what happens here is that you have this decaying in peaks and dips, and I just prefer it the way with the Wyvern, with the whiteboard. The whiteboard I think is the perfect tip for this IEM. But otherwise, as you can see, it's really nice. I mean, when we take that into consideration, that point that I usually like to consider, which is the 100 Hertz. You can see straight away that yes, we have a presentation which is, you know, nice and clean in the mid-range, in the vocals and so on and so forth. But you know, you might think, oh, okay, maybe it's going to be a little bit too vocal centric, a little bit. No, it sounds really good. It is a really nice, easy to listen IEM that's very, very musical. The Wyvern Abyss, which then was released, is the graph that I've just placed now. And as you can see, it's basically the same thing. You got a little bit extra energy in terms of the bass, more mid bass than anything else, and that does confer an overall slightly warmer tonality. As you can see, it shifts that point closer there to the 2K mark, and as I also mentioned, you know, it's really only with certain genres that you will see this improvement. Okay, and then finally the Wyvern Qing. This one here, which is kind of like a middle term between the original and the Wyvern Abyss, with again a little bit of a touch up here in this area between 2 and 5. Truthfully, guys, you don't notice it that much, if at all anything significant, because it's always the same driver with very small, slight nuances in the tuning. This final one that I'm going to show you now is the Q1 Pro from EPZ, and just taking away the other ones first, if I compare it with the Abyss, this is what you can see. Actually, to be more correct, it's basically like the original in terms of its bass, but it's got that little extra amount of detail here in this 4, 5, 6K area, which again, you know, it's something that you do pick up here and there, but it's not a tremendous thing. It's not, you do notice that there's a little bit extra detail. Compared the Q1 Pro with the Qing, very similar. I mean, this is driver variance from left to right. Honestly, guys, it doesn't get much closer than this. Okay, throwing now into the equation the Ignite X, so you guys can see what the Ignite X graphs like. Okay, and this is the Ignite X here in black, and the Ignite X is the Qing basically, as you can see, but then you got that BA helping out here and giving that extra amount of energy, like at 6, 7, 8K, which you notice it again, you know, it's there, it's present, it's it. You know, and I don't want to get or transmit the idea that, oh no, it's that BA timbre is bad. No, it's not bad. You just pick up on it, especially when you're going from something like the Wyverns and you go on to this one. You pick up on the fact that you now have a BA, definitely. And of course you then will pick up on certain songs that before maybe it sounded a little bit smoother, more relaxed. You now have that little extra energy that, depending on how you push the volume, you know, they can get to you. That's it. It's you know, it might affect some more, others less, but it's look, this is a nitpick at most, okay? Because otherwise, up to about 5-6K, they sound exactly the same. Be it the Ignite or be it the Wyverns, they sound the same. All right, now continuing then here with this comparison of the Ignite X with some of the other IEMs. Comparing it here with the Plutus Beast straight away. The Plutus Beast, yes, doesn't have as much detail up top, it doesn't. But you do notice that the bone conduction, which is this little peak here, does somehow clean up the bass and make the bass sound a little bit more incisive, a little bit more, just that little extra amount more fuller. It's enough to notice it, okay? Let's put it that way. And as I mentioned, it's the best implementation of SPD that I've seen from Celest so far, all right? So that's that. Compared now to the Konoka, like I also talked about. Let me just change the color here to something which is a little bit more visually stand out. Okay, compared to the Konoka with the mod that I've done to it, and this is using the BA working, I really enjoy the sound of the Konoka. I really do. The Wyvern is got the XINHS has got slightly more cleaner and better bass execution. Yes, it does. I'm guessing the fact that it's an LCP driver obviously does help. Now the truth is this as well, the Konoka for $20-something, you know, you can't fault it, guys. You really can't. It really is a solid IEM. Okay, compared with the X600, which is this one here, again, very similar. I would say the X600 perhaps just maybe the bass sounds a little bit more present because we don't have as much detail up top there, that area of the treble. But you know, it's not one is better than the other. It's just that they've had different tuning approaches, but they both sound phenomenal. Honestly, they both sound phenomenal. And if there's any point that I can say maybe is hindering the X600 success, it's just the price. You know, if the price could be just a little bit lower, I guess maybe people would look at it differently. You know, that's really the only issue. Otherwise, it's a nice solid IEM, the X600, much like the XINHS, to be truthful. And then the STM, which again is one of those IEMs that I modified, much like the Konoka, which is this one here. And the STM, you know, look, I can't mention this enough. It sounds phenomenal. The XINHS has got better bass, although it seems like the STM's got more bass. It's got better bass, cleaner, more incisive. But then the way that the BA has been implemented on the STM, and with my little slight mod, it just makes it sound less there, more coherent. It sounds more like a single driver. Okay, and it's very, very similar. Let me just get here the Konoka so you guys can see. Let me just put the two of them together. So the Konoka and the STM. The Konoka and the STM, as you can see, they are very, very similar. Very similar. I would say ultimately the STM is edging out ever so slightly the Konoka, just because the tonality is more correct to me. But again, guys, these are modded IEMs. These IEMs have been subjected to my little touch, so you know, take it for what it is. And then finally, comparing the XINHS to the Sonus from 7 Hz. This one, yeah. The Sonus is just, look, it is just a very nicely and very well tuned IEM. The bass is tremendous. It's, you know, it's really where it shines. No bleeding to the mids, perfect execution, a nice gradual pinna gain. We're talking about a pinna gain of roughly 7 dB, so nothing too excessive or you know, or in your face. No forwardness, no nothing. It just sounds very, very musical, and it is the better sounding IEM of the two. You know, and when you consider the price is the same, look, you know, just the fact, look, if everything else is equal, just the fact that the BA, in the way that it's been implemented in the Sonus, is more coherent and matches better the dynamic driver than it does in the XINHS is enough to justify it. Okay. On top of that, you have the better build quality. You know, guys, you know, it's down to you and your preferences and what you can get it for. But the truth is this: be it the XINHS or any of the other single DDs, yeah, they all have their merits, they all have their things. The XINHS is a good IEM, you know, that's the truth. And the Wyvern, the the Qing is again as well. The Qing also a very nice IM. They are both very solid IMs. The Qing for the $20 I think, you know, is perhaps the one that makes the most sense out of the two. Honestly, you know, it's perhaps the better deal, because at least for me, I don't have to deal with that issue of the BA tonality just being a little bit out of my preference. I'm just changing the color to red so you guys can see. And that's it, guys. I mean, I think I've explained it enough. There's no need for me to carry on rambling here. As always, like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.